Okay, this is your word of the day for April 16th. The word of the day today is flagellate, which is to whip or flog as a form of religious penance. Uh, Sometimes you'll see this, like, they still do this around the world. People will, like, flog themselves. They'll, like, get whips and hit their backs and stuff. It's a fairly big tradition in some of the more severe forms of Catholicism around the world, and in Shiite Muslim culture. They do this sometimes, not all the time. Indonesia, there's some different groups that do this still. But flagellate. This is a picture from the Middle Ages, and basically what happened was during the Black Death, the plague that hit Europe in the 1300s, these people would walk around and beat themselves as they walked through towns in an attempt to, I guess, get God to forgive them. I don't know. And they wandered from town to town, whipping themselves to seek forgiveness. And so, anyway, to flagellate. By the way, that word flagellate is where we get the term flagella for like little bacteria and stuff, the little whipping thing on the end. So anyway, fun fact there. Uh, Next up, string theory. Okay, so string theory is a really cool science theory that there are plenty of videos on the internet if you're interested in this, but it essentially looks at what is below the level of an atom. So hopefully you know that you've got an atom, and then the atom gets broken into neutrons, protons, and electrons. And then those, in turn, can be broken down into quarks, especially these protons and neutrons are composed of three things, which are quarks. There's an up quark, a down quark. There's three different types of quarks: up quark, down quark. Let's see, strange quark, charm quark. What are the other ones? Can't remember what the other one is. Oh well, there's different types of quarks, and so the electron is like the base unit. Then there are these quarks. There's also stuff called leptons and neutrinos and all these other things that make up the standard model. And then below that, there's a theory that little tiny strings of energy create those things that we perceive as matter. And it's not too far-fetched an idea. Quarks pop in and out of existence due to the interaction of the strong nuclear force, and we are aware of that, and that is verified by science. So that's something we know can happen, is that particles can pop in and out of existence due to fluctuations in fields. And so the theory is that these strings are what cause those fluctuations to occur, and that different particles are based upon those fluctuations in the strings. So tons of videos on YouTube if you're interested in this. It's a good topic to take a little dive down the rabbit hole on. History fact of the day: Andrew Carnegie didn't go to college, but he did found one. So Andrew Carnegie, you may remember from history class, as one of the founders of Carnegie Steel. He was one of the big magnates of the Gilded Age. Made billions and billions of dollars. He never went to college. He was incredibly smart, and he did do his best to learn things, so he didn't just sit back and not learn. It's very critical to note that. In one of his first jobs, he basically taught himself how to do Morse code in order to get ahead, and then able to get even more ahead, taught himself how to hear Morse code. Instead of having to transcribe it, he could just tell you what it was saying by listening to it. So he did believe in education, and so whenever he became wealthy, he founded the Carnegie Mellon Institute with one of his other magnate buddies, and this is an institute that provides scientific research, and is still one of the premier institutions in the United States. So yeah, Carnegie didn't go to college, but he did found one. And then finally, we got our book of the day, American Colossus by H.W. Brands. It's The Triumph of Capitalism in the Gilded Age. It goes roughly from the Civil War through 1900. And if you're interested in business, it's an incredibly good history for the history of business in the United States. Very interesting. It's got some stuff on labor and how all that worked out, and how capitalists used labor and essentially crushed the labor movement. It's got some interesting stuff there. The interactions between the individual magnates themselves, like Carnegie and Rockefeller and Mellon and J.P. Morgan and all those people. Very interesting book if you are into business. I would highly recommend it.